Your sales team is blaming marketing right now. Lead suck, not enough volume, wrong targeting. Most founders believe this and throw money at more ads. I used to think the same thing until I sat down and listened to over 500 sales calls. Here's what I found. It's almost never a marketing problem. Deal after deal was falling apart because these teams didn't understand the customer the way the founder did. So while your team is pointing fingers at marketing, they're missing the real psychology of why people buy. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what I heard on those calls and how to fix the real problem. Point one, the customer knowledge gap every founder misses. Here's something most founders don't realize. You spent years talking to customers. You've heard their doubts, their fears, the way they explain the problem in their own words. Over time, you absorb customer psychology without even trying. It becomes instinct. But your team, they never get that. They get product training. They get feature breakdowns. They get pitch decks. What they don't get is why the customers actually buy or what keeps them awake at night before they book the call. When I listened to those 500 plus sales calls, this showed up constantly. Reps knew the product perfectly. They could recite features. They could explain benefits, but they couldn't connect emotionally with the prospect. They didn't understand what the customer was really afraid of or what outcome they were actually chasing. Here's the mistake almost every founder makes. They assume product knowledge equals customer understanding. It doesn't. One rep I reviewed lost a $30,000 deal because they pitched benefits when the customer was really worried about risk and internal blame. The product was a fit, but the rep never addressed the fear driving the decision. I was reviewing a sales call the other day, and it reminded me of a client I'd worked with before. Same pattern, same stuff. They knew their sales team had bottlenecks. They knew something in the system was broken, but they wouldn't make the decision to fix it. It wasn't because they didn't see the problem, but because they were scared of the risk. So I asked them the question they were avoiding. Mr. Client, what's it costing you not to decide? How much revenue have you already lost? What does another quarter of inaction truly look like? And how do you explain to your boss that you chose to wait? That's when it clicked for them. Action and inaction are both decisions. They just have different price tags. And this is where internal blame showed up. Instead of saying our reps aren't performing, we had to ask, what system did we build that allows this to keep happening? The truth was they hadn't equipped the team with a process to find their constraints or to fix them. No structure, no clear way to diagnose the problem. So the real risk wasn't trying something new. The real risk was protecting a broken system, because every leader eventually has to live with their choice. Move forward and take responsibility, or stand still and own the fallout. And in this case, the cost of inaction was already exorbitant. So if we can teach the rep to be more confident in addressing the true fear drivers in the sales decision process, then deals like this don't fall apart. And when deals fall apart like that, what happens next? The team blames marketing. Bad leads, they say. Wrong audience. Low quality prospects. But the real issue is the customer knowledge gap. Point two, what I actually heard when teams don't know their customer. Once you know what to listen for, you can't unhear it. I heard reps handle price objections with logic when the real issue was trust or timing or fear of making the wrong call internally. I heard teams asking surface level qualifying questions like, what's your budget? What's your timeline? Instead of founder level questions like, what happens if this doesn't work? Who gets blamed if this fails? What made you finally take this call now? The difference is everything. Founders naturally ask questions that uncover emotional drivers. Most reps are trained to check boxes, and that's why prospects go freezing cold. Not because they weren't qualified, but because the rep couldn't speak to their specific industry pain, their use case, or the real reason they were even shopping in the first place. Over and over, I saw the same exact patterns. Teams blamed bad leads. I hate when they do that, when they simply didn't know how to connect with the customer type. And here's the part most people miss. When reps understand customer psychology, average leads suddenly close magically. The leads didn't change. The understanding did. So if you're sitting there thinking, my team definitely doesn't understand our customers the way I do, you're not alone. Most founders I work with realize their teams are basically flying blind when it comes to customer psychology. And if you want to see exactly how I help founders build teams that actually understand their customers without having to be on every call, I'll put a link to that video in the description below. Point three. how to transfer your customer knowledge to your team. So the real question is, how do you get what's in your head into your team? It starts with a customer psychology audit, not a product quiz, not a script review. An audit that shows what your team actually knows about the customer versus what they need to know. From there, you document customer fears, motivations, and buying triggers, not generic personas. Real language customers use, real moments that cause them to hesitate or to move forward. Objection handling shifts too. Instead of battling objections with features, you train reps to respond based on customer psychology. What fears behind this objection? What risks are they trying to avoid? Discovery changes as well. You teach your reps how to identify emotional drivers early in the call so they're not guessing later when the deal stalls. This is where customer empathy training comes in. Training that makes reps think like your best customers, not like a product demo machine. And finally, you need the feedback loop. Every call, every win, every loss. New customer insights get captured and shared across the team. So customer understanding compounds instead of staying stuck inside your head. So here's the biggest takeaway. Founders assume their teams understand customers, when in reality, they only understand the product. The real shift isn't better leads, it's better customer understanding. And when your team complains about marketing, that's usually the signal they don't know how to connect with your customer type yet. Because the day your team understands customers the way you do is the day the marketing complaints disappear. And oh, what a day that is. If this hits home, you're realizing your team has been blaming marketing when they really just don't understand your customers. Here's what I want you to do. If you're generating over $1 million a year and you're tired of being the only one who can close deals because your team doesn't understand your customers as well as you do, I've got a free strategy call where you can audit exactly where your team's customer knowledge is falling short. There's a link in the description to book that. And if you want to see the exact sales system I used to build a $100 million team that understood customers without me being on every call, watch this next video where I break down the whole framework step by step.